Guess what happened to me today?
There's a flag on the play, dude.
These are things that keep me up at night.
Being punched in the testicles?
This is Jose.
This is Gan.
Does anyone know where we are right now?
Hello, listeners.
Hello.
Welcome back to our podcast.
Hello, hello.
So, how are you doing today, Jose?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. We said our last podcast, we said we'd touch on some more health changes we've made in the since January.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. You want to take this one? Because I think we both have our reasons for doing what we did, and let's touch on yours.
Well, a beautiful young woman came to me in last January and talked to me. That's you, by the way.
I was going to say, better be me, damn it. I want names.
We were both experiencing health issues. I was experiencing more health issues. Jose, you had a lot of allergies and stuff like that.
A lot of food allergies, yeah.
They just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
In closer as you get to 50 and weird things like that. But I always had I suspected a heart arrhythmia or some sort of weird heartbeat when I was in the military.
For a few years, eh? Like you, yeah,
I'd feel it during
times.
a hockey game. I'd feel it during, sometimes it would just be, and I had no way of, you try and take your own pulse during a hockey game. I'm asking guys to come off the shift with me. Hey, take my pulse. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Get off me.
Yeah. So I reported it. Nobody could really reproduce it or make it show up.
I do remember, sorry, I'm going to, the one time you're talking about your hockey game, you came to pick me up after work, and I put the cuff on you and took your blood pressure, which was quite low, but your heart rate was really high. So I think we said, well, what do you want to do?
There's nothing we could do.
Well, we did. We went to the hospital.
Did we go to the hospital that day?
We did. We went to the hospital and checked your heart and everything, and you were fine, and they booked you an appointment.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you got, a few weeks later, remember you got hooked up with the heart monitor machine.
Right. They had the Holter monitor. I carried it around for a while, and then I wore it for a few days or whatever, and it never showed anything. Yeah. I did the stress test and everything like that then, and nothing ever came up. Nothing ever came of it. Yeah. So we...
so with our health changes, in January, we decided
to adjust our diet. Jose mentioned the carnivore diet. Yeah.
I wanted to eliminate a lot of foods because stupid food allergies. Like it probably started, I want to say, in my late 30s.
Yeah.
Late 30s, and started eating an apple. Mouth starting to swell up, and it just gradually, a lot of fruit I couldn't eat with the big seeds in them, which I think they said it was a tree nut allergy. Anyways, it escalated from there. Ended up with a dairy allergy, which I never had when I was younger. And
you went to a naturopath, and she took blood work and found other stuff you were allergic to that you never knew. I
just, it was getting to the point where I didn't know what to eat anymore, and. Anyways, fast forward to...
we actually adjusted. We moved to keto. So we took out a lot of breads, and we didn't know if it was a bread issue or something like that. So we went keto, so it was mostly meat and veg. Yeah. Right? And dairy. And you're allergic to dairy, so we really didn't do a lot of dairy. I kind of dabbled in it every now and then when I wanted some cheeses or something like that. Yeah. But... we still had issues and stuff like that. So we would stop taking this and stop taking that and stop taking this, and it never really, nothing really locked it in for us. So you mentioned that let's just go carnivore. Let's just cut out all the other stuff. Yeah. And we did some research on it because
I think I Googled, a way of eating that gets rid of all allergens. Yeah. And carnivore popped up.
And that was about when Joe Rogan was going through his trials with it.
I think that's an old podcast, though. But
either way, that's when it started coming up. When we started researching
it. Well, that came up because you start Googling stuff, right? So all this stuff starts popping up in your searches, right? So,
and then we started getting Dr. Barry, and we got Michaela and her dad, Jordan Peterson, who were big advocates of it.
Michaela?
Yeah, his daughter's Michaela.
I don't know. Did you look it up?
Yes, you've been 3 years carnivore. Anyway, let me go back to that.
Yeah. So you're talking about Dr. Peterson.
Dr. Peterson. Yeah.
Oh yeah, him and his daughter. She struggled with mental health and whatnot. So we were watching a lot of those podcasts.
Yeah.
What's the other one we watched too? Dr. Ken Berry. He's really good too. And Dr. Sean Baker.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Baker's been carnivore for 8 or 9 years or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But
and as we mentioned in the last podcast, Josie's got a very addictive personality, so she dug into this hard. And basically, all you had to tell me was, "You want to do carnivore?" And I'm like, "Tell me about it." She goes, "Well, you eat meat. We just eat meat." And I'm like, "So I just eat meat all the time?" She goes, "That's all I eat." I'm like, "Yeah, that's good. So bacon, eggs, steak. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm all over that."
Yeah.
So that was a simple version of it.
But it took me a while to break it to you that no sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your guilty pleasure there, but
it is. But I could always back that up with I get to eat meat. I get to have steak every night if I want.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just I couldn't fathom this is something you're asking me to do it, and we're both okay with this. I feel like it's a guilty sneaking it pleasure.
It's a bit of a mind fuck, right? Because you're told pretty much as far as I can remember, like low fat this, and like don't eat the chicken or the skin on the chicken, like it's high fat, it's bad for you. Don't eat the medium or the fatty ground beef because it's not good for you. And the fat on the meat, it's delicious, but it's not good for you. Anyways, it was so ingrained in our thoughts. So to go from that to like eating the fat on
everything.
On everything, like we literally
putting the fat for the beef fat on top of stuff when you're cooking, get the medium ground beef instead of the lean ground beef, and you add more fat into everything. It was amazing. You go from you're raised on that food guide thing where you had to eat, your plate has to have potatoes and it has to have vegetables and it has to have
starches and
it has it was a mind fuck.
I want to put a disclaimer out there. This is, we're not shitting on your way of eating. If it works for you, do it.
For sure. But
this was not working for us. Like this was our issue that we had to deal with. You start reading on stuff and, you could read a whole thing on vegans and be like, holy shit, man. Yeah, we got to follow that. It's what works for you. So I'm not downplaying what your way of eating is. If that works for you, man, do it. You got to do something that works for you. And, this works for us. And the whole premise of the carnivore is they call it nose to tail. Like you eat the entire animal.
Tongues, livers.
Yeah, we don't eat the whole body in one meal. Like that's not be silly here. I have not eaten tongue. We've been doing this since January. We're October, but we do occasionally. We'll cube up a little bit liver in some tiny pieces, and get our liver that way. But
there's a lot more we can do. But like you said, the premise was let's get rid of all the stuff that we're not sure about.
Yeah.
Right. And not a lot of people have allergies to meat. So for the allergy side of things,
it worked.
It was the easiest thing to say, let's cut out everything and make sure we're doing okay. So
started that in January.
Yeah. And then my medical issues started to.
But before that, okay, I'm sorry to interject here. Because we decided to take on a healthier way of living. And this was, again, not a New Year's resolution. We just, like with we quit drinking too and going that hand in hand. We're like, all right, let's get a couple Apple Watches and let's, monitor, like our steps and our workouts and stuff like that. Like let's do this.
Patterns.
Our sleep sleep is so important. People, that's underrated with health, I have to say, is people think sleep it takes a back seat. It should be in the front seat. Okay, so we got our Apple Watches.
Right.
Now go on. Sorry.
So I really want to get the Apple Watch because I knew there was still something going on with my heart every now and then, and I could feel it, but I couldn't really put a thumb on it. It would happen at like 3 a.m. I'm like, I'd feel my chest kind of beating kind of weird, and I'm like, oh, there it is again. What can I do about it? I can't peg it down type of thing. And by the time I get up and go in and deal with it, there's going to be nothing there. It only lasts about an hour.
Yeah.
So I got the Apple Watch, and it would show me every now and then, and I could record my ECG and your basic ECG from my watch. And then one day we were sitting around, and it went off on a Thursday or something like that at 2 p.m. And I'm like, Jose, it's happening right now. So this is when we started the carnivore diet, and it just, I don't know if it any relation to it, but it really just it occurred more often.
Yeah, you were having, like, you were waking up in the morning. There's a few times you're like, oh, it said I was an AFib through the night. So, of course, AFib, we're like, what the hell is that? Yeah. Google that shit, right? So we're looking at it, we're like, and you're like, that's what I've been feeling.
That's what I've been feeling. And now I can put a name to it. I thought it was an arrhythmia or something.
Yeah.
So, once we finally got it to happen during the day, it's not worth it, clogging up the emergency room. I'm not in distress, but if it was during the day, we could go in and go to the hospital and say, I think I'm having some heart issues right now.
Yeah.
As it's happening right now. And I can see it on my watch happening at that time.
Yeah.
So we managed to get in there, and he put the check on me, and he
But that's the thing. Okay, when you go to the hospital and you're like, my watch says I'm in AFib, they don't fuck around, man. You were in the room. There was a room full of people in the waiting room, and you were taken into the back. Sorry, I'm interrupting here, but you're downplaying this. Like, this, to me, it was like, holy shit, like, this is serious. Like, you're in the room, on the bed, ripped your shirt off.
12 leads stuck all over you.
Pants were rolled up to your knees. They had, like, stickers on his feet and his legs and his belly and his neck and his head, and anyways.
And and I could feel it still happening at that point. So I knew they were going to get something off of it.
Yeah.
And they did. They proved I was in AFib at the time, and my heart rate would go from 60 beats per minute to 180 beats per minute.
Yeah, you're close to 190. The doctor came in, and she's like, I don't like this. And she gave, you had an IV in your arm, and,
she gave me something to get my heart rate to slow it,
come down
a bit, so it didn't max out so bad. So based off of that, it really brought it home, and it helped me put a label to it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's nice to have it diagnosed, right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's it. Diagnosed. I had a diagnosis for it. So it gave me the ability to go and seek out further treatments or further research on it and stuff like that. So when we started the carnivore diet, it was mostly for allergies and stuff like that, and pain. And I had an inflammation. From jumping out of airplanes, I've got a lot of joints that hurt all the time anyway. So to have these tests done regularly, so over this course of this last year, I've been going to the Heart Institute in Kingston, and I've been dealing with all the tests and everything like that. So not only have I started carnivore, I've also been medically backed by getting all these tests done while I'm doing carnivore.
Yeah.
Which was kind of neat, because now I'm not drinking alcohol anymore. I've never smoked, and I'm losing weight, and it all kind of snowballed into, I feel great now.
It's almost like, I feel like you were almost, like they held your hand while you were going through the beginning of carnivore, right? Like, it's, like
I was getting blood work done. I was getting tests done. I was getting heart rates and echograms, and they checked my whole plumbing to make sure I wasn't.
You did the stress test,
the radiation and everything, and I did sleep testing, and I'd done sleep testing before, and they said I had light sleep apnea, and I could benefit from a machine. But at the time, my lifestyle was just so
like you
hectic.
would snore. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know how many times you'd wake me up in the middle of the night snoring, and then you would stop completely.
Yeah. And
that's what would wake me up, because you would snore and then you would stop, and I would wake up, look at you. I'm like, is he breathing? And then you go, I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's going to inhale a pillow. Like, it wasn't pretty. It was kind of scary, actually.
Yeah.
And now
well, when we finished our party summer last year with our drinking, like 23-year-olds with money, it just, I think I was up to 235, almost 240 pounds.
Yeah.
And, that's big.
And you're 5'11".
I'm 5'11", and I'm a fairly muscular guy, but that was big for me.
Yeah.
And of course, I was having problems with everything at that point, and that's when we decided, you were doing it for allergies, and I was doing it because I just didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I was just not good.
Yeah.
And the carnivore diet was, it took a lot of research, and it took a lot of really digging into not only the benefits, how to do carnivore. That was the hard part, was trying to figure out, we want to do this as healthy as we can.
Yeah.
And as easily as we can. Not easy like it's easy, but easy to my system.
Yeah.
Right. But it just, we looked up all the naysayers. Tell me what the bad things are. Tell me, I told my my nurse practitioner when I was going through the heart clinic that I'm doing carnivore, and the hemmed and hawed, and
she didn't really have anything negative to say.
Have anything negative to say. And I said, do you think I should add something to it? And she goes, well, just keep doing what you're doing. It seemed to be working.
Yeah.
Right. And, she can't say add something. She goes, I can't say to you add this because it'll benefit this. It's more of what's working for your body at the time.
Now, when we went to the hospital and that doctor, gave you the medication, and this was back, I want to say probably February-ish, she put you on a prescription, right?
Yep.
Do you remember the name of it?
Diltiazem.
Diltiazem.
20 milligrams.
Yeah. And that was to lower your heart rate. Now, do you remember how that medication made you feel? Like,
because it lowers, it caps your heart rate, or I'm not quite sure exactly what it does, but it makes sure your heart rate doesn't go up. So if I am actually doing work and I'm riding my motorcycle and we're riding for a long time, it really makes me feel sluggish. I don't feel like I can get my revs up where I wanted to. I can't, I took my bicycle down to drop off some garbage at the garbage dump, and I was coming back up the hill, and I was dizzy. I could not get my pulse, my rate up to where I needed it to get blood to my body to pump.
Yeah.
Right. So I just walked my bike back. I was like, took me and my bike for a walk.
Yeah. But you took your medication pretty much all summer, and then we finally got all your test results back, and the nurse practitioner, we ran into her again, and
she told me, she said, we've looked at all your tests and everything. She goes, everything seems to be fine. I went from 230 some odd pounds, let's say 235, down to 182. Over the course of, I think I was down there by April.
Yeah.
Before we started on our motorcycle month on the road. But it was a lot of weight to lose, but it just, she goes, you're not overweight anymore. You're within the boundaries you need to be. You're not smoking. You're not drinking. She goes, just come off the diltiazem until unless you need it. If you have an AFib and you feel like your heart rate's revving up there, then take one then.
Yeah. But you haven't had an episode since, I want to say, March.
Yeah. It would have been March, because I haven't had one in April, and then May we were getting ready to go on our trip, and I never had one since then. Yeah. And my Apple Watch would have told me. Yeah. So, it's been an amazing journey with carnivore, and I'm
not a disclaimer. I mean, we're not saying at all like this is going to cure anything. It just what's worked for you and what's happened for you, and your medication as well too. I don't think, like she said, if it starts happening again, then start taking it regularly again. I don't think it's like you have an episode, take a pill. I don't think that's the case at all. I think if you start having episodes more frequently again, and your heart rate is racing again, then definitely, I mean, I would probably call our family doctor and go see him and do that. So I don't want it to sound like, like, hey, you have pop it like an aspirin, like you have a headache. Yeah.
So this is our journey. This is what we've been going through. And I'm not saying it's for everybody, because everybody's body's different. Yeah. But it's definitely been working for us right now. And a lot like our, will you ever drink again? Well, will you ever go off carnivore? Well, not today. I got steaks out. Yeah.
No, you're right. We have a lot of people that have asked us, like, well, how long do you plan on eating like this for? Well, my response is, always, well, how long do you plan on eating like you're eating for? Like, you eat what works for you, and this is working for me, and I feel good. I've never felt better. I find, like, for me, a mixture of no alcohol as well is I don't get the high highs and I don't get the low lows. It's such a nice way to feel all the time. Like I don't feel
Yeah, you're right in the middle band.
yeah, you know,
all
like
the
a
time.
little ups, little downs, but nothing so extreme that, you know, like, oh my God, you know, like I don't want to get out of bed, or, oh my God, you understand what I'm saying? It's,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I just, we're enjoying that. And so it's, you know, it's a weird way. Like when the first few times you went grocery shopping, you remember that, you
Oh
know,
my
you're
God.
like, I'm at Costco and I'm looking at this big package of, you know, it's the big chunk of meat, the sirloin. Was it sirloin?
Strip loin or the tenderloin, whatever we're
And
looking at.
tenderloin, you know, and they're about $200 a piece, and it's not cheap.
Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian, yeah. But you're looking at one of those chunks is 16 steaks is what you cut there last week, or yeah. So, you know, and I was like, oh my God, maybe we shouldn't and shouldn't do this. And meanwhile, I started to laugh, and I said, you know, it used to be I'd go to the LCBO and grab like 3 or 4 bottles of wine, a bottle of gin, and grab, you know, some Patron, you know, tequila, and grab a case of beer and spend like $250, and not even like no sticker shock when I get to the cash, because, you know, like this is a necessity.
Yeah.
You know, I'm honest with you.
And then we go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And we buy our groceries for the week, and it would be veg, and
Yeah.
it would be rice, and it would be potatoes. And
Now let me ask you something. How much are we throwing in the garbage now for food?
Oh, nothing.
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 You know, before it's
Yeah.
like these veggies, they're expired, or they've gone bad. You got to throw them out, or this, you know.
Yeah.
Because you're not eating it fast enough, or, you know, people are like, well, you're buying too much. And, well, I'm sorry. You know, you buy a package of you know, Caesar salad lettuce heads, and you eat maybe 1.5, and you keep it in the fridge, and the other half has gone brown, or,
Yeah.
you know, it just, there's the waste is zero.
Zero. Yeah. We take out and we eat what we cook.
Yeah. Like
And what we don't eat is we eat the next day.
the next morning with bacon
Yeah.
and eggs, and you
Yeah.
know, the other thing with the carnivore is they tell you to eat, it's called, I'm going to say this wrong probably, it's ruminant stomached animal. So it's not a 4-stomach animal. It's an animal with a stomach with 4 compartments in it. So I always thought cows had 4 stomachs, but they have 1 stomach with 4 compartments in
Right.
it. So if you could stick with that kind of animal, so it's, you know, you got your antelope. You know, I'm not going to eat antelope, but sheep, cattle, goats, deer, giraffes, and llamas. Those are your ruminant animal. Am I get a ruminant stomach animal? Excuse me. Am I going to eat a giraffe? Fuck no.
Yeah.
A llama? Nah, probably not on purpose.
Yeah. But we've seen there's an elk farm here, and I think with wild meat, though, I think there's an issue with the amount of fat that's in
Yeah,
it.
they're too lean.
Yeah, because your body needs. Because we don't eat any sugar.
Yeah.
So that's the kicker right there. Your body still needs the energy, and I found the really surprising thing was, you know, like you said earlier, we've been told to eat lean meats,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and I think it's your gallbladder that it produces the bile that helps break down the fats and stuff like that into energy.
Yeah, so when you first start carnivore, you have a little bit of an issue with some looser bowels, because you're, like
Yeah.
you said, you're
You got a lazy gallbladder.
your gallbladder, because you've been eating lean for so long, or, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you eat fat when you eat your potato chips and your, you know, like all that shit. But yeah, no, you're eating fatty meats. And I mean, for breakfast, I mean, and that's the thing when we first started too, you're so stuck in a state of mind where you're like, I got to have my breakfast and my lunch and my dinner, and I got to eat, you know, have some snacks. And, you know, at first I'm a panicker, right? Remember I was telling you earlier, I'm a bit of a panicker, and I need to plan ahead. You know, so we're making all these little snacks and things ahead of time, making a ton of beef jerky. What if I get hungry and you panic?
Yeah.
Well, now we're at the stage where it's like, well, you eat until you're comfortably full, you know, not to the point where you're so full. You know, when you eat pasta or you eat, sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No, and you're just jammed full and you can't move.
Yeah, you know
and-
that full feeling? Like I've not felt that in months.
Yeah.
I feel full, but not painful full,
Not
like
lethargic full.
yeah, like I find when you eat stuff like pasta and rice, like that carby kind of meal, it just feels like it keeps growing when after you're done eating.
And then don't eat again until you're hungry.
Yeah.
So sometimes, I think it was a couple of days ago, we might have had a couple of pepperettes or something, and then we didn't eat anything till supper.
Yeah.
That was our breakfast, or we didn't eat it, and I didn't think we ate anything.
No, because we weren't hungry, and that's okay. You know, like it's you know, there's mornings I'll get out, I'm like, oh my God, I'm starving. So we'll cook like a pack of bacon and, you know, a couple eggs each. And that was the thing too. For breakfast, I'd have like my 4 slices of bacon and my 1 egg. Well, now I'll eat 2 to 3 eggs and we share a pack of bacon for breakfast, you know, and then we don't eat again till dinner and we have a big motherfucking steak.
Oh yeah.
So lunch is normal. Like we don't even panic in the middle afternoon. Hunger is not something that is a big panic anymore, you know.
If there's any drawback I find to carnivore, is life's a little boring. You have nothing to do in the morning because you're not hungry. You don't make breakfast.
Well, kidding.
You know, and there's times I'll go 2-3 days without having a poop. Sorry to put that out there, but
yeah, we got to talk about the poop.
So, but you know, I used to poop every day.
Well, I used to poop a couple times a day.
A couple times a day. Yeah, I was pretty good with it. I'd be after I'd work out or something, and then maybe later in the day or whatever. But it just, you go 3 days and haven't pooped, and you don't worry about it because then you eventually poop.
Because if you think about it, I mean, I hate to compare us to dogs, but when we look at dog food, right? And for people that own dogs, you know, do you want filler in your dog food? No, you don't want filler, because if you have filler, they'll shit more.
You gotta clean up more.
Well, yeah, and it's not good for them. You know, corn and wheat and stuff like that. Well, you don't want that in your dog food. It's not good for them. So why would you want to put it in your body? So
yeah. So
I take, that's the way it works for me. That's the way I think about it, right? Yeah. So but
it's really interesting. I'm not going to call it a diet. It's a lifestyle. It's a
way
really
of eating. A way of eating. Yeah.
And it's every day it's something more and something more interesting comes up, and I'll try anything. Yeah. I'll try nose to tail at some point and try all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But and I won't be scared of it. It's just the way things will go. It's
well, you got me eating fat off of a steak now, which to me now is like
you
tastes
to cut
like
it
butter.
All off
I cringe of how much fat I've wasted. Like, but yeah. And what did we make? We made like 2 weeks ago, and I'm kicking myself now. Is the butter? You take unsalted butter and you put it in a big pan, and you just you fry it up, and you brown the butter. Okay, so you brown the butter, and it gets little bits on the bottom, and it started smelling like Werther's Original candy shop in here. It smelled so good.
Yeah.
And you bought some little molds there, little heart-shaped molds, and I put it in there, made sure I had those little brown bits in each one of them. And, you know, people put them in their coffee. And, well, hardcore carnivores, I think, don't drink coffee. If it doesn't come from an animal, they don't have it.
Yeah, you put it in your bone broth or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, but, or you can eat them just like that. I ate like 2 or 3 of them this morning. I'm like, God damn, these are good. I forgot they were in the freezer, you know? Yeah. But yeah, there's that. But it's really good for people with autoimmune diseases as well, right? Like it's inflammation and
when we were traveling, we did, like I said earlier, we did a month on our motorcycles, camping and just riding around the east coast of Canada.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of nice because we'd ride all day. And then around, we'd always be in somewhere for the night around 3 o'clock. So we don't want to, you know, we've ridden about 5 hours. So at that point,
yeah.
And then we'll hit the last town we're going through. We'll find the last town and we'll go into a grocery store and we'll grab 2 big mother steaks. And then we'd finish off. We'd go to the campground. We'd set up our tent and stuff like that. And then we'd have these giant steaks and we'd sit at a picnic table and eat these steaks. And I'm like, it's so simple. Like before I would have had to pack rice or potatoes, or we'd had vegetables somewhere on the motorcycle going bad somewhere. It would have just been, I'd just been a mess. But for what we did, the carnivore diet really worked for our traveling. And it just was so simple. And then you get up in the morning and I'd have some hard boiled eggs I'd throw in the bag there. We'd had some beef jerky or some pepperettes, or we'd just do eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
We'd ride for a bit and then stop somewhere and have some eggs and bacon or whatever. We'd have a stove on the bike, and it's just so simple. It's just so simple that it seems like there's got to be something wrong with it.
I know. I think we overcomplicated it at first, and a lot of people, when they start on this too, they have that little bit of panic because they don't want to fail at it and cheat, and grab something quick to eat. But I think like within 2 days, I didn't crave the sugar anymore. Like it was weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah. So
and I like crunchy stuff. I like to crunch stuff. I don't know if it's the primal animal in me.
Yeah.
But, and when you're eating meat all the time, there's not a lot of crunchy stuff unless you get your bacon all crunchy. But then you can have pork rinds.
You're allowed pork rinds.
Pork rinds
baby.
Are amazing. And it's fat, and it's the salt you need, and it's makes me thirsty. So I drink, and I need to drink a lot of water anyway.
So let's talk about what you're allowed to eat on this diet. Diet. Okay. I got to stop calling it a diet because it's not. It's what can you eat on carnivore?
Yeah.
So you go ahead, Kenny.
Well, we were in the East Coast, so we did a lot of fish.
Oh, fish.
A lot of fish, lobster, mussels.
Scallops.
Scallops.
Yeah, we did bacon wrapped scallops. That was...
I think we've already researched steaks.
Yeah, we did steaks, hamburger meat. I mean, there's times where if we're in a rush, we'll grab a pound of hamburger meat and we'll just in a frying pan and, fry it up. And I'll add a couple eggs to it. And
if we got some extra bacon left over in the fridge,
that's right. I usually throw bacon in there. You're right, and a bit of butter, and we just eat a bowl of that, and away we go. Like we're not using food. Used to be,
used to be a big thing.
Yeah, it used to be a big thing, and now we're just fueling our bodies to keep going. It's and it's delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, we eat eggs. Obviously, that's we do dairy.
Some dairy. Yeah, my body is able to do a little bit of dairy right now. So that's been a big change for me.
You can always tell when you overdo it.
Yeah.
But it's a lot better than it used to be with you, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like we're making pizza crusts out of chicken, ground chicken, and crushed up pork rinds, some Parmesan cheese, and we do it on the Blackstone. Like you mix it all together. I think a couple of eggs. Anyways, if you guys want some recipes, you Google anything. To be honest, carnivore pizza crust, you'll get it, and you just roll it out flat and you put it on the Blackstone or in the oven.
Yeah,
and,
I did it in the oven on a cookie sheet.
Yeah, how'd that turn out?
It was fantastic.
It was good. Oh yeah, you did it at the football party.
Yeah,
Kenny went to a tailgate party and
made two big pizzas and it was just cheese and pepperoni, and it's just hard to find stuff that doesn't have sugar in it.
Yeah, you use an Alfredo sauce because you can use a creamy sauce because it doesn't have sugar in it. You just got to be careful. Like you don't want to you got to watch your oils. You want to use animal-based oils, not, like canola oil. Canola oil is not good for you anyways, but any canola oil or vegetable oil or what's the other one too? Anyways.
Yeah. But the other thing is, we've done pork and we've done chicken. I don't think we get as good results with how full it makes me, or how I find I have more maybe water retention or something when I'm eating more chicken wings.
Yeah,
and
I think it's
stuff
the wrong salt or whatever that's on it. So we retain a bit of water after that, but.
But I mean, I've had chicken. Hey, I get to eat chicken wings. Yeah. Ribs.
Yeah. And it's not something we have very often, but we can if we want to. We go, we can, go for wings. You just got to be careful with some of your sauces. Yeah. Some people do a butter and butter Parmesan, or sometimes. I think garlic kind of slips in for us sometimes too.
Yeah, we have some stuff that we've decided in our life to include, and it might be like Frank's Red Hat sauce or something like that. In minimal,
noticed, we haven't noticed any bad effects from it.
Yeah, so Oh, the other thing was when we were doing our camping trip, we were in there and, you're outside pegging the tent down and I'm inside doing, pegging the tent down or clipping stuff on the inside and that, or putting the sleeping bags in. And you looked at me and goes, how are your knees? And I'm like, I never even thought of it. Like my knees are wrecked from all the years of parachuting and stuff like that. I always had I could never crawl around on the ground. My knees just hurt all the time. Anyway, I was just running around on my knees and pegging in the tent and tapping this. And she goes, oh, how are your knees doing? I'm like, oh my God, I never really noticed.
I know. I looked in because normally I'm the one that goes in because it's all the kneeling stuff. I'm like, I'm normally the one that goes in kneeling and put the cots together. And there you are on your knees and doing stuff. I'm like, are you okay? Yeah. Are your knees okay?
Yeah, I never really even noticed. So my joints all feel better, and of course I'm 50 pounds lighter, so that helps my hips and my back and my knees and ankles and everything. So this old veteran's just doing a lot better with the fact I've lost a lot of weight on it, and I wasn't doing it for the weight loss. I was just doing it just for I felt like garbage. I just felt terrible, and you were going through stuff, and I want to support you in anything you're doing, and you just told me to go eat meat, and I'm like, heck yeah, let's do this. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm losing weight. This is something else, and now I'm probably about 185. I average between 182 to 186. So I'll say today I was 185, and I joined the military back in '85 at 200. Yeah. I was in basic training at 200 pounds. So last time I was 185, I probably would have been about 15 or 16. And does anybody really appreciate the body at 15 or 16? Probably not. I don't remember ever being this size. Of course, all my 2XLs and XL shirts look ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that was the biggest thing.
All my clothing is gone.
We kept laughing, we'd go like after probably the first couple of weeks, I go and put on my bra. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. Kenny, look at me. And I'm like, look, I could shove my hands in with my boobs in my bra and there's still tons of room in there. Anyways.
She looked at me and goes, is that your dad's sweater or something?
Oh yeah, it was hilarious. Well, okay, so the one day you come out here, I was sitting out here, I can't remember, watching TV, and you come out of the bedroom, you're like, and you said to me, like, where did I get these jeans from? And I looked up at you. I'm like, those are my fat jeans. Like those, I didn't wear them anymore because they were too big for me. I had put them aside to give them away. Yeah. And here, because my heaviest when we started this, I was probably about 185 pounds.
And that's where I'm at now.
That's where you're at now. And I'm down to about 138. So, you had on my jeans.
And they fit.
Like really well.
They're a little skinny on my legs. And I was like, why do these jeans feel so skinny on my legs?
Did you put on my riding pants too? We went to go out the one day and you put on my pants. They were a bit short on you. That's how you figured out they weren't yours.
Oh my God.
It's like, take my pants off and give them back to me.
Yeah. So there's the battle you face. All your clothing has to go and you got to buy all new clothes. Terrible.
Yeah. It's that's been a bit of the struggle there too. But
I want some of your hand-me-downs. Those jeans look pretty sexy.
Oh my God, I never laughed so hard in my life. They were a bit short on you. That was the funny part. I'm like, okay. But it was. We're doing well with it. Again, people asking us how long you staying on this, and the biggest thing that kind of gets to me, and I try not to be defensive, trying to be positive, is, I've had a few people saying, oh, you're getting too skinny. This is not healthy way for you to eat. And, as, they're telling me they're drunk and they've drank a whole bottle of wine. And as they're telling me that I'm too skinny and it's unhealthy for me, and they're spitting in my face while they're telling me, I'm like, oh yeah, I just try to agree with everything they say. I'm not going to try to rationalize. You don't pay my food bill, and don't worry about it. I got this. I don't do things lightly. We've done our research. Change the topic
on sometimes.
I just change the topic, and
we don't. I hate to be like a carnivore in your facing, but people just keep asking us, like, oh my God, you're jacked now, you're ripped. I got a 6-pack abs, and I've never seen that on me.
And you've worked out, like,
I've always been in great shape with the military, but I've never seen this on me, and it really messes me up too. And
we haven't really worked out. Like we haven't hit the gym or anything. Like we're
fairly active.
We're active, but we're not like. I mean, I used to go before work, I used to go to the gym for an hour and a half. You know, if I was at the gym, I would leave the house 4:45 in the morning, and you were hitting the gym before work as well.
But just think what, you know, this is what your body had, the muscles it had to support the amount of weight we had on it. We were our own gym.
Yeah. But even then, like I think I was, when we were in our prime there, I was lighter than I am right now, but I'm more cut now than I was then.
Yeah.
Like I always had a bit of puffiness to me, you know?
Yeah.
And same with you. You always, like, you were fit, but you always had that little bit of puffiness to you. I don't know how to explain.
Proportionate though. I would feel like I was
Absolutely.
proportionate,
Yeah.
and I feel like now I am not proportionate.
You don't think so?
No, I think I just need to do some changes to me.
Yeah.
I think I have long hair and I got a big beard, and it worked well with a big guy. But now that I'm a skinny guy, a big beard and long hair, I may have to adjust me.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. I think we were always constantly evolving anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll get there. Like I said, this has been 10 months now.
Did I tell you I dreamt that you shaved your beard? I was
You
so
did
mad
mention
at
that.
you. Oh my God. Okay, so we'll eventually post some pictures, and Kenny's got a beautiful, beautiful white long beard. It's I mean, you put Santa to shame. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And yeah, I dreamt. I woke up, and if you shaved right now, he would look like a baby. He looks like a baby with no beard, and
A
I would
very
look
young
like
face,
I would look like I was with a guy who's 15, 20 years younger than me. So, anyways, don't shave the damn beard.
No, I just need. My son-in-law told me. Brent told me I got to just thin it out. Just, like, don't go as wide with it.
Yeah.
So
That's a good idea.
I'll work on that.
Our daughter will have to trim you down on the sides there a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So there's very few drawbacks to what we're doing with Carnivore, but and they're all, I got to buy new clothes, I got to trim my beard, and life's a little boring sometimes if you're not eating 3 meals a day, and our groceries, I go straight to the meat section and
like, you don't
jump on
have
out
to
of there.
eat steaks every day. Like, that's the thing, is the big misconception is, like a couple of pages I follow on Facebook and on Instagram, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I can afford it. It's just go out and make a list.
Yeah.
Make a list of costs and what you would need, and I'm telling you, it works out cheaper. It sounds more expensive, but when you look at how much you're spending on veg and not eating them all and throwing them away, again, I'm not saying vegetables are bad for you, but if you're really considering this way of eating, for us, the waste, there's no waste, which I feel good
eating
about.
out is probably the hardest thing.
Yeah.
If we have to go outside to eat.
Yeah.
And it's just because, for one, we don't know what's in their meat.
Yeah.
And it's been marinated in Worcestershire sauce or whatever they've
Wash your
done.
sister sauce.
Wash your sister sauce. But it's really at that point, at the point we're at now, I've accepted that at some point there may be sugar in somebody's bacon. If they're going, hey, we made some bacon. You want some eggs? Sure, I'll have some bacon and eggs. There might be sugar in it. I'm not that minute. I can't accept X amount of sugar. I went to visit my aunt in Newfoundland when we were on our motorcycle trip there,
Yeah.
and they made chocolate chip cookies, and I could not resist.
Yeah,
her
that
homemade
was
chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah.
I love you guys. Oh my God. That's how much I love you.
Yeah, we had a good laugh at that. I'm like, oh, here we go. He's done. I lost him.
And my tummy felt a little bad for a bit, but then, you just get back on it. And the next day, you do one day at a time. And then we look down the road and it's been 10 months.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it. It's just,
in our 10 months of doing this, we've had how many friends that have converted over? They're like, damn it, you guys look amazing.
Yeah.
You're looking good. You're feeling good. And, we've had, our good friend Andrew, he's converted over, and our friends Lori and Sean, they've started it. My sister
Richard
started it.
did.
Yeah. Our friends Richard and Lara started it.
and our beautiful daughter Gabby.
Our daughter is, she's like, oh, maybe I'll try it, because she's been struggling too with inflammation and her knees. Her knees for her, like, it's been I feel like it's been going on since she was little. But she's seen some improvement. So there's something to be said. Anyways, I don't want to go on too much about, you know, her personal stuff because that's her story to tell. But
yeah, I think if we can help one or two people, you know, find a healthier way of doing something for a little bit, it's worth it. I mean, if people just, you know, if we can steer you away from certain things and help you that way, like, you know, oh, watch it when you try this, or how come when I do this happens, you know, we can offer some of our opinions. Obviously clear this with your own doctor if you plan on doing any of this stuff. By no means are we medically trained in any of this, but we are researching as best we can with what we know.
Yeah, you got to go with what works for you, and this works for us. So it's, you know, it's our business, damn it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you know, you want to tell your story, and that's the thing is, like, we just feel like you want to tell your story. Give us a ring, and, you know, you want to share your experience with it. We don't benefit in any way other than we feel good about you know, benefiting from us. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, like, you know, if we are able to encourage you to do something, or
just thank you for listening to us.
Well, okay, yeah, there's that too.
And you know, eventually we'll figure out how to be better at this podcast. So maybe we'll get some call-ins, and we'll talk to some people that have had some just as amazing results. Yeah,
absolutely.
With anything.
Yeah. Like I follow a girl, I think it's Steak and Butter Girl. Yeah, Steak and Butter Girl. Butter Gal, sorry. Steak and Butter Gal on Instagram, and she's friggin' hilarious. Oh my God. Like, she grabs a stick of butter and eats a stick of butter.
Oh,
like, she's at that point. I think she's been doing it for 5 years though. So it's, you know, I'm thinking we've only been doing it for this long. Like, what did I eat this on our trip this summer? I'm like, I feel a little bit peckish. What should I eat? You know, and we got hard-boiled eggs. And if you know me, I'm a little bit dramatic when it comes to hard-boiled eggs. It smells like a fart. I have a hard time eating something that smells like a fart. Yeah. Anyways, I put a little bit of Frank's, and I say a little bit, it was dripping off my hand, and I was taking like big bites and swallowing it whole so that I didn't want...
It's the rubbery outside that gets to you, isn't
my
it?
God. But I ate them. I was like high-fiving myself with my gunky hands.
You're doing very well with the eggs.
You're doing very well because you'll just follow everything I say. I'm like, hey, how about we try this? Or how about we try that? You're such a go-getter. You're like, yeah, let's do it.
But you're just such a good researcher. So it's fantastic.
Well, I start off researching, and then you end up, you got into watching all the videos with Peterson there, Jordan Peterson, Dr. Peterson. I mean, he's amazing with a lot of information, relationships. I will quote him a lot in the future, you know, when we talk about relationships and stuff like that, because he's just an amazing guy. But there's another one we watch on YouTube, the ketogenic woman. Her name's Anita.
Oh, yeah.
The ketogenic woman. Remember? She had a ton of recipes. So she slides back and forth between keto and carnivore. So she goes back and forth when she, you know, she's lost, I want to say, over 100 pounds. Yeah. But she had medical stuff too. Was her big reason, I think, for doing it too. So, so she slides back and forth. Oops, sorry.
Gong.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's, you remember her? Like, it's been a while since we've looked at that, because we kind of go down rabbit holes when we get on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody does.
Yeah. And what else?
So that's...
But keto, I wanted to touch on something else with the ketones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember somebody was asking on one of the pages, you know, like, what happens to your body when you're going through this, and, you know, you kind of sluggish at first, and I don't know if anybody's heard of that keto flu.
When we did keto,
you get that keto flu because you go on such low sugar and low carbs. Your body's like, how the fuck do I survive? We kind of got in a kind of heated discussion with another couple about this last night, but I had to let it go because I'm like, I can't even. But, you know, talking about carbs and needs carbs and to get that energy. Well, your body does not need carbs for energy. It needs fat.
Yeah, there's...
So yeah, so your body, when it starts to go into ketosis, it produces the ketones, right? So I was wondering too at first, like I have the little pee strips. Again, those are not very accurate, but it gives you some kind of idea, and it makes you feel good if you're in ketosis. And I was in my strips were going like deep purple. I was like, yeah, and then eventually it just faded, and I wasn't in ketosis at all. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
What are you doing wrong?
What am I doing wrong? I'm like, yeah. So, and somebody on one of the pages asked the question, and somebody answered. I think one of the doctors, they put a link on their YouTube link for, I think, Dr. Baker or Dr. Barry. And it just, essentially the short version was that your body uses the ketones. So that's why you're not registering it, because your body's using it.
It doesn't come out in your pee.
Yeah. Anyways, so that made sense to me. So that's a little bit I wanted to add to that.
Nice. Yeah. It's, anyway, I feel amazing, and you look amazing. So
you look amazing.
And everybody out there, I'm sure you're going to benefit, or if it's something that you want to try out. There's a lot of people we mentioned that you can follow, and follow us, and we'll talk more about everything we can about everything we're going through. Yeah, and if you have a YouTube, or if you have a podcast that you want to share with us, because we'd love to go listen to you about your experience with the carnivore and whatnot. So yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for really more exciting stuff on our next podcast. Oh, it's gonna be a good one. Okay. All right. Bye. Bye.